Hi Anna,
Hi.
Welcome here at our studio in Tilburg where we produce WOBBY on this here nice machine, the laser printer. You are the co-founder of Pictoric. Pictoric is an Ukrainian illustration collective, and we did an open call for curators to co-curate the magazines with us this year. So through this open call we invited 4 collectives to work with us for 4 different magazines, and you are the first this year with Pictoric, and we were really happy that you participated and submitted your ideas through our open call. Can you tell us a bit about your idea and what Pictoric is?
The name of the issue is like Far From Home, something we had in our minds all the time because of the war in Ukraine. We had this idea and we applied with this project. And to the open call, we were super happy that we were chosen. But in general, Pictoric is an illustrator club that just unites Ukrainian artists, and we do exhibitions and different artistic projects since 2014. We have 3 people in Pictoric who are curators, and then the rest of the illustrators we are working with, and super happy that we can collaborate. This is one of the projects we actually did just before the full-scale war started. We printed a book about illustration in Ukraine, where I think, if I remember well, we have 30 illustrators from Ukraine here. Super nice book with biographies of illustrators, and we tried to choose different artists to just showcase what exactly is happening in Ukraine in the illustration field. When we founded Pictoric, we just wanted to show cool artists.
Yeah.
Because to tell the truth, we didn't have a lot of, institutions or collectives that represented illustration, and we knew so many cool illustrators. We were we have to show them. So when the war started, it was our main idea, I would say, to show the work, because as illustrators we could do few things to help, and one of them was to spread the information about the war, and the second was to fight propaganda. And almost all the illustrators we work with, they were drawing posters about the war. So we started to do exhibitions. I think since the beginning of the full-scale war, we already organized around 8 of the exhibitions all over the world with the posters about the war, which somehow helps because not everybody knows about Ukraine, and it's nice because then people can find out that except the war, we have a beautiful country. Since 2022, we are mostly doing this projects related to the war, but we somehow trying to find our path through, not to be only straightforward. But our straightforward project was this one, I guess. It's a small, not so small, book that was printed in Germany in 2022 with some texts and posters about the war. And it's kind of a documentation about what was happening in the beginning of the full-scale war, because the situation obviously changed and our feeling changed, but you can just open this book and see what the illustrators were thinking or feeling back then. And now the opportunity with WOBBY is a great chance to talk about the complicated topics Far From Home, but it should not be just directly about the war. So because we see here not only Ukrainian artists and not only artists who had to escape the war, but it's just a wide topic that you can talk about from different perspectives.
And can you tell us something, because you made the cover yourself?
I tried to make it not so dramatic. From one side, so you can see the bright colors and there is nothing so terrible happening, but I had in my head this image of the women who were escaping with the kids when the full-scale war started. So I tried to show that one as the image of Far From Home, but still not to make it too dark, too tough, so not to traumatize people who already experienced the war too much.
So for this issue, we worked with 14 different artists. 2 of them live in the Netherlands. Khattar Shaheen is from Syria, but he lives in the Netherlands, and Marina Sulima, she's from Moldavia. She also lives in the Netherlands. That's why they can be physically here, and we invited them to talk a little bit about this issue.
I'm Khattar Shaheen, graduated last year from AKV St. Joost in Den Bosch. I came here in 2015. I had to flee my country. I live in Nijmegen, close to the border, the German border. And I'm looking forward to make my journey through art and discover myself and discover what I can make.
My name is Marina Sulima. I came here 7 years ago to study illustration and animation.
The new issue you collaborated on is called Far From Home. So we were wondering what home means to you.
Home is the place where you feel yourself, like you have family, you have friends, you have the environment that you can grow in. It's like a plant, it needs the perfect place. Mm-hmm. It's like feeling more than it's a place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can relate to that. It's I don't think there could be one answer that will stay there forever for someone. Mm-hmm. It changes every year, it changes every day. It also matters from which side you look at. If you ask me what home for you is in illustration, this month I'll say that I feel at home in Bruegel's illustrations and worlds in which there are peasants eating and and celebrating stuff and dancing. And next month might be someone else's drawings. I find myself at home.
Is it already a home for you here?
I can say this is some kind of duality you feel in, like you have the desire to go back, but you know for sure that there is no place for you anymore there, and life back in Syria is not the same anymore. People are changed. I am also another person. But I still think about home, like the place in Syria where I was a kid.
I remember specifically just the change of places when I would go back to Moldova and I would come here, or the other way around. The switch was pretty strong, and you feel floaty a bit. But it's a really interesting experience, actually, to realize that both in terms of home and other questions that you have for yourself, there can be many answers, and I'm getting more comfortable with that. I think that's been the most interesting process about living here, to realize that you can find some kind of calmness, and you can be calm without answering to the fullest this question. What is it for you? Can we ask you back?
For me, it's like just the whole topic is very interesting because I'm experienced only like these 2 years. I'm far from Ukraine, but somehow most of my work I'm doing is still for Ukraine. So I'm like living in Germany, but doing a lot of things for Ukraine. So I would say I'm still not feeling like Germany is the place I'm living or staying too much, but. Like, I think it was very fun. I, for the first time, felt like I'm somehow settled in Germany when I was going to the coffee place and they asked me, "Oh, do you want cappuccino as usual?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fitting in." Yeah. So the artists that are working with Pictoric, they're staying in Ukraine actually, and I felt like I somehow staying in Germany can help to talk about the war in Ukraine and to like show these artists as well. So it's kind of like. I felt like it's my job, so that's what I did for the last 2 years to like just because a lot of artists who are staying inside the country, for them it's hard to travel, for them it's hard to speak or to do this, to build these connections. So you are doing that instead of them. So then it feels a bit easier because you still feel like you're doing something important. Yeah. Otherwise, you feel like you're just like living your life in Germany and drinking a cappuccino as usual.
One of the reasons I could study in the Netherlands is actually due to the fact that my parents emigrated from Moldova when I was young. That wasn't the reason why they left, but since they left and could have a better paying job that allowed them to pay for my study here. So even though I left consciously and I had a choice where to go, for my parents it was less so. They emigrated illegally, so my study somehow is due to that and in honor to that and thanks to that.
I graduated from the Faculty of Fine Arts, the Damascus University, and it was totally different what I've done here at St. Joost, because I was like the youngest one at my school, like 17 years old. And now, when I started here, I was 26, I think, and I was the oldest one at my class. The lessons there, I was like separated the theory and the practice. So I was like more in the practice. I didn't give any here to the theory, and I was also only enjoying making painting, and that's it. I didn't want to, and that's how art must be, I think, to be yourself, to enjoy what you're making. But when I flew here, I came to here, I lost all my ambitions, I lost all my dreams, like what am I doing here? So I decided to start an art academy, like from the beginning. I could do master, but master of what? I decided to study the illustration and animation, but I had no idea what I could do for that. I know I can enjoy making things with my hand, but what else? So, and I wanted to know other artists here in the Netherlands. I wanted to know how they think about art. I think the difference are in the way you have to make research. It was more there about global things, and here more about think by your own and try to figure out what you are, going into your head, and maybe the research bring you to something else, and that I think this is the most part I realized it's different, the difference between here and there.
I graduated with a film about the packages that people who emigrated from Moldova sent back to their families' home. And the film casted a doctor who treated these packages. So in this film, packages are alive, they're capable of emotions, they have diseases, and a doctor checks and treats them and their possible ailments. I sometimes think it was almost necessary to be out of Moldova to make this work, to look at it from a distance and treat it with both humor and a bit of absurdity, and yeah, and then I really enjoyed making it. I had some of the best times in the COVID period, actually drawing this encyclopedia in complete quiet. And it was also quite special because I got to film my grandfather being the doctor in this film. And and it felt both absurd and funny, and yet we felt both the most at home to go with some packages around the fields next to the river we both grew up next to, and make fun a bit of this phenomenon. We all receive packages weekly or monthly from people outside, or our relatives outside Moldova. And now I have a short film in honor and with my grandfather, and in honor of my parents who sent us dozens of these packages. So it's...
You lived with your grandparents then?
Yeah, I lived with my grandparents after my parents emigrated. And in the beginning there was no option of video chatting, so our communication was mostly through these packages and the letters inside, and of course through the food that we received. So
we as Syrians, we don't feel like stable because you always hear the same story, and I didn't want to focus on death. And something like, or bombs, or like, I want to make something like flew with the head, like it's some, like the charcoal, it has his own like character, like brings those feelings that I want to talk about, but I couldn't talk about it with myself. It was only just do it, just make it. Trust in your process, have trust in your skills, and it's gonna be okay.
I can't wait. Hey, 1, 2, 3, oh, it's happening. Wow.
Yeah, so this is a new issue.
Yes, it is. It's born.
For my ornament.
I'm sitting now.
The yours are this. There is so much details. This one was like, it's a closed space. It's you cannot stand up. You're sitting on chair to feel this pressure. So it's about the pressure. It's about the uncomfortable sitting in. Maybe it's inside your head. It's some kinds of feelings I can't talk about. I can only visualize. And
The idea came after reading an article from a person who fled Nagorno-Karabakh, and they said in an interview that they sometimes check on Google Maps how their house looks from the satellite, whether the walnut tree is still there, whether someone came to live in their house or not. And I realized that I do that a lot as well. I mean, perhaps my house is not threatened to be occupied by anyone else at the moment, and there's no reason why the trees in my family garden would be cut away, but I often also travel through the satellites around the river that I grew up next to, and the fields that were common, so they were to be used by everyone, and I wonder what happened to them. Are they still there to be used by everyone? Did they get privatized? Did something get built, or do sheep roam there? Is there still a river because the springs are drying out and the water level is lower and lower by the year? So the illustration acts like a map somehow, but through which you can find feasts and stories and travels and animals eating and people making love and anger, but always food and dance and some kind of feat, and just placing yourself onto maps that can or cannot bring you there. And then the single page acts as that moment in which you are looking at the satellites, often at the edge of something, or that's how it feels, I think, when you keep looking at other places, that perhaps you feel like you're further away than them.